Welcome to Magical Women. I'm your host, Connie Boyd, and this is the fourth sequel talk with the amazing, incredible Julie Eng.
I feel for a lot of my friends who are in this entertainment industry across the board, from magic to music to theater to all of the mechanism that goes with all of it, the booking agents, then, the venues, front of house, like it just goes on and on and on. And it scares me because it's so difficult for so many. And yet we have to continue, finding new ways of creating opportunities to share, what we do. We are about live theater, and no, it's not going to be possible right now, but we can't give up either, right? We just have to continue believing that, I know a lot of young magicians who have actually turned to virtual and they're working on new stuff, both virtual and live. And I'm like, that's how we have to look at it. It has to be about surviving a coping, but then building and working from a difficult situation and taking that experience and turning it into something. And if we can do that, then I think this says a lot about your passion for your work, for your own work ethic, and your survival instincts.
Right. Yeah. And in general, entertainers are survivors. So
I think so. We keep coming back to this word, survivors.
Yeah. If you are a survivor, to survive in show business is longevity. All entertainers, and you'll have highs and lows in your career, and it's very humbling and very rewarding. Yes. But surviving those highs and lows and thinking out of the box and figuring out new ways to do things.
Yes.
I mean, hundreds of years, magicians and entertainers have been doing that.
Yes. And that's part of it's for me, I look at it like grit and resilience. There is a digging in that needs to take place, and it's not easy right now. It is unprecedented. I hate hearing that word over and over again, but it's true.
Yeah.
It is without a measure from the past. So we have to look and again, I hate this word reinvent. We don't have to reinvent, but we certainly need to look at what's in front of us right now and what will be in front of us. I'm a forward-thinking person, so I like to try to look at those opportunities that way. But at the same time, I was reminded by an article I was reading, well, don't worry so much about the future. What's going on right now and right now and right now? And that's a good point too. It's like part of that is taking care of ourselves, taking care of our friends, doing that check-in. I live alone, and I'm so fortunate that I have so many people constantly checking in. My day is very busy, very full. And then I work on projects where I'm constantly checking in. And then I'm, again, extremely fortunate that we create these opportunities, we work together, and we find ways of sharing, inspiring, lifting. And now's the time I think we have to come together as a community, particularly with programs like yours, where we share our experiences, define the fact that it isn't easy. It isn't always rosy. It isn't what we think it's easy to guess and to think about someone's life. It's challenging. I've faced a lot of difficult challenges. And my husband, who I was married to for 19 years, he passed away 3 years ago. And it was sudden. It was really, really sudden. This is a cancer survivor too. So we thought, he'd gotten to the other side of everything. And when that happened, my world absolutely just fell out from underneath me. And what happened for me? So my dad died too in 2008. So I had this huge double loss of first my father dying and then Julie passing away. It was like, these are pillars of my life gone. And it was very, very difficult for me. And what happened for me is I'm very fortunate that my magic community just rushed to me, popped me back up, and really, really centered me back into what I do, who I am, and where my work means something. All of a sudden I relied on this family, and I'm so fortunate for that. So I look back now with great gratitude to my father for helping me establish that network, for establishing me here in Toronto, for introducing me to someone like David, who then opened up all these other avenues for me. And then I look at Sully and how he only supported me. He only pushed me forward. He didn't want to be in the limelight. I met him on a show, and he wanted to set me into that stage setting, and he wanted to support my efforts. And so he would, like roadie for me, he'd drive everywhere, drag stuff up, set stuff up. Like we were a team.
Yeah.
And I've learned that having that mechanism and that form of trust and having people around me like that is just so inspiring, so loving, so warm. So my job now is not to sink into, a little corner and disappear, but to share my experiences and to say, it's tough. It's tough.
Are you enjoying this talk with Julie Eng? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell.
Grief is really, really difficult. And I think people right now are experiencing great panic, great grief because of the pandemic. And it's okay. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel darkness sometimes come over you. But you need to also know that there's the light. So what do you got to do? It's just like I told the kids, well, let's take one step. Let's take the next step and like to the next step. I have a 6-year-old nephew, as I keep telling you. There is a lot of Disney in my life.
Yeah.
There are great anthems for life in those Disney stories. And that's the next right thing. You don't try and launch a new show for 2022. People, by and large, in this community anyway, want to only help, only want to support, only want to reconnect. So I feel like magic does that for everybody. And I think this is the time now where we can really count on each other. And I'm very proud of Magicana for that, because one of the things that the Slaight Family Foundation, who funds Magicana's programming, the family put a program together of $150,000 for professional magicians in Canada, so that Magicana could help distribute that across the immediacy of loss of gigs, because everything was canceled left, right, and center. Right. And it was quite a moving experience for me to have that great joy of being able to help our fellow Canadian magicians. Right. But the pride I had of working for such an amazing organization, and to have such a forward-thinking, grassroots, real sponsor who understood what this pandemic was doing, right. and the trust they had in us to see that through in a mechanism that I think got the money to those who were eligible to apply for it relatively quickly, relatively smoothly. We wanted to make it not like a whole giant process. And the response we got from the Canadian magic community was overwhelming. It was really heartwarming. And I feel like there's a great community out there. And I'm really, really proud that Magicana was able to be a part of that, and that the Slaight Family Foundation saw that as something that we as a family, as a group of Canadian magicians, can do for one another.
Right. It's just remarkable. And also Magicana has a huge library that you can see virtually almost any magician. So any aspiring young magician that's out there right now, it's a wonderful source.
Magicana has really shifted from being, say, an organization to we wanted to kind of bring it into like this archival, not museum, but museum-esque, like a resource center. And if you go to magicanarightnow.com, magicana.com, and then you go to the video section, you'll see this is the screening room, and it's a video library of various performers from various times in mostly from television, so various eras. But it's about seeing these magicians in a way where the magic is at the height, or you can learn something about the technique or about the performer. And having these special tags that the Slaight Family Foundation helped us build this particular architecture for the website. So you can search by trick, by performer, by era, by show. And other magicians like Juan Tamariz and Luis Pedrojita brought over some really interesting video content that we hadn't seen before. So being able to share that with our North American viewers was just fantastic. This is all available for free, as you said. But it's also a huge library of writing. So Jamie Ian Swiss took the time for about 2 years to write these essays called Take Two, where he would review a performer and take the time to help curate video content, not necessarily from our library, but for the magician in general. Mm-hmm. And you're learning about stage magic, card magic, specific gambling technique magic to very broad things like the oldest trick in the book magic, you know, that
Right,
like
right.
there's a range. So there's, in other words, there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
And, you know, having that kind of a resource available. And then Jamie also wrote huge essays on magic and reviewing magic. So if you're looking for content ideas, we've just re-indexed all of that. This is, again, all available for free
Right.
for magicians to come in and access. I think having something like the Magicana's library will give other magicians a chance to really dive in and to see what is out there, what's been done, maybe learn a little bit about the kinds of effects they're interested in.
Did you enjoy this Magical Women Talk? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you'll be aware of future Magical Women Talks. Oh, and don't forget to comment. We love to hear from you.